Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current latest transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. There's lots to negotiate on this current video today. But the first topic of the development I'm going to give you an update on is in regards to Harry Maguire, as I have been updating you about Harry Maguire on a regular basis and all that. More additional information is updated about the current player and all that. So we do potentially know Harry Maguire's transfer saga to Manchester United, does continue to persist. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified, Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. Obviously, we do know it is Manchester United and Manchester City, of course, that are battling out for his services. But I do believe, Leicester City's valuation seems to be the stumbling block of Harry Maguire, making his proposed move to Manchester United or Manchester City. Obviously, Leicester have blatantly made it clear, they do want in the excess around £80 million. So obviously, Manchester United or Manchester City are going to have to pay a world record fee if obviously, if we do want to get a deal over the line for the current player. Obviously, Harry Maguire has obviously informed Brendan Rodgers. He's also informed his Leicester teammates, that he does currently want to leave Leicester, to rejuvenate his career and of course take his footballing career to the next level. I do believe Harry Maguire's first choice preference is Manchester City over Manchester United and all that. But we do know that Manchester United and Manchester City are not willing to pay, of course, what Leicester are currently demanding and all that. But I still believe, we are in pole position to currently sign the player. Obviously, reports indicated out last weekend saying that reportedly Manchester United had reached an agreement with Leicester. It did allegedly say, we had agreed a world record fee of £80 million. So it said reportedly we'd pay £60 million up front, with potential £20 million in add-ons and all that, which does rise it up to £80 million. It did allegedly say he was set to undergo his medical in Manchester on Monday and all that. Obviously, that never materialised. So obviously, there wasn't a lot of credibility in that. Like currently said, I also believe he left the training camp. Did Harry Maguire, earlier on this week. But Harry Maguire's blatantly made it clear that he does want to leave Leicester. Obviously, Manchester United and Manchester City have held several talks with Leicester over getting a deal over the line. Obviously, Manchester City have seen Harry Maguire as a replacement for Vincent Kompany and all that. But I do believe, the valuation, seems to be the stumbling block at the moment. Obviously, the most expensive defender in the world at the moment is obviously Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who of course Liverpool paid £75 million for back in January 2018 and all that. And obviously, you can't put Harry Maguire Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, because obviously, Virgil van Dijk is, the best centre-half in the world. But Leicester have basically said they'll let Harry Maguire join Manchester United or Manchester City, as long as Manchester United or Manchester City, of course, are willing to pay a world record fee. But I do believe we're not willing to pay what Leicester are demanding, because we have basically made it clear we are not intending on overspending on our transfer targets this summer. But we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified, Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target, because obviously we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, because obviously, we have got issues defensively, and like I said, we haven't had a world-class central defender since we had the likes of Vidic, and since we had the likes of Ferdinand, and we haven't really had a defence to rebuild on, since we had the likes of Vidic, Ferdinand, Evra and Gary Neville and all that. So I do believe that defensive area is one of the pivotal areas, of course, where Manchester United have got to strengthen up. There's also other areas as well where we are lacking. We need a couple of new additions in that midfield. We also need a right winger, and some people maybe think, that's more essential than Manchester United getting a central defender in. Obviously, last season we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League in 38 Premier League games, so that just proves the issues, of course, that we have got defensively. And obviously, we need to see vast improvements, of course, going on into this season and all that. But obviously, Sky Sports did report out the other week saying that obviously, we've already had a £70 million bid turned down for Harry Maguire, because I think we're only willing to pay around from between £70 to £75 million for his services. But this £70 million offer had been turned down by Leicester, because obviously, this is too insufficient for them and all. But talks have been ongoing for several weeks. But reflecting back last summer, our priority was to recommend a central defender to come in. Obviously, we didn't get as number one targets last summer under the Jose Mourinho era, because obviously, the board weren't backing the signs that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to come in. And of course, one of the players we did want last summer, of course, was Harry Maguire and all that. But he's indicated out Harry Maguire, he wants to go to a competitive elite level football club, to take his footballing career to the next level and all that. And I do believe, he would be the right type of signing signing for Manchester United, because I do believe he's still regarded as one of the best central defenders in the Premier League. Obviously, he's well Premier League proven. He's 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him and all that. Plus, he's British, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. But Brendan Rodgers has basically come out and all that, and he's actually now reportedly imposed a deadline on potential bids for Harry Maguire. So basically, Brendan Rodgers has come out and he has basically discussed about Manchester United and Manchester City, both expressing their interest in Harry Maguire, and he's been discussing about potential bids that have been put in for Harry Maguire and all that. So I do believe Brendan Rodgers' overarching view and all of this is basically saying if Manchester United or Manchester City do want to get a deal concluded with Harry Maguire, obviously they have basically got to hurry up about it. So basically, Brendan Rodgers has obviously now imposed a deadline on potential bids for Harry Maguire. So basically, we've got to meet what Leicester are demanding if we want to get a transfer prioritised and all that. But basically now, so far this summer, we have currently got two players on the board. Obviously, we spent £65 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and all that. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on that, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed, he basically he's still. Well, he still wants one or two more players, before this current transfer window currently shuts. There's only just under 4 weeks now remaining this current transfer window. But yeah, we've got two players in so far. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, he wants to bring at least a couple of more new additions here to the squad, because analysing our current squad at the moment, it isn't competitive enough, isn't good enough. And like I said, regardless of who our manager is, even if we had a manager to the highest level, they would still struggle, this current squad. I do believe Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka are both going to definitely exceed expectation levels at Manchester United and all that. We have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far, because they have done well in our first two pre-season games and all that. But I think we need more than Wan-Bissaka. We need central defender. We need a couple of new additions in that midfield. I also believe the club need to sell, to help us generate funds and of course rebuild the squad. But like I said, we've identified Harry Maguire now as our number one defensive target. Obviously, Leicester I think are obviously going to want a replacement for him. Of course, if he does go, reports indicated out earlier on this week saying that Leicester had allegedly come to an agreement with Brighton for Lewis Dunk, and they agreed around a £45 million deal and all that. But looking at ultimately, Leicester don't want to sell Harry Maguire. This is the main factor reason why they've priced him out of the transfer market. This is why, of course, they are demanded an extortionate amount. But Harry Maguire, of course, has been at Leicester a couple of seasons. He's made 76 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. He signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's in the contract with them until 2023. Of course, Leicester paid £17 million for his services from Hull City a couple of years ago and all that. Actually, Mike Phelan has instructed Manchester United to get a deal over the line for him, because Phelan has managed Harry Maguire during his short tenure with Hull City and all that. I think so Alex Ferguson also instructed Manchester United to get a transfer prioritised for the current player. And I did say in this market at this day and age, probably £70 million would be reasonable for Harry Maguire, but I do believe over £70 million definitely, Leicester are basically asking for too much. But like I said, he's a very, very good player. His tenacity is good, his work ethic is good, he holds his line really, really well. He plays that, he shows that ability to power from the back. He's not really, really good, Harry Maguire. He's not, like faster or more, but I don't think, that's currently an issue. But I do believe, he would blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline, fantastically well, without a shadow of a doubt. Reflected back quite a few weeks ago, we were looking at the City were going to get him. City were going to pay him around 280 grand a week and all that. But obviously, City are not willing to pay, of course, what Leicester are demanding. But I do believe his preference is actually nowhere to make a move to Manchester City and all that. But basically, we've got to pay £80 million. This is the quoted fee, of course, what Leicester are currently demanding. I do believe Harry Maguire was at Sheffield United, when he was younger, so that's obviously where he began his career and all that. I do believe Manchester United, were in for him at that point, back in when he was at Sheffield United. But yeah, I like Harry Maguire a lot, and he's 26 years of age, still got a lot of years ahead of him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has blatantly made it clear, he wants to bring young players in, that can grow, develop and emulate into superstars, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recently spoke about our ambitions, going on into next season in the Premier League and all that, and he does believe Manchester United will be aiming for further up than fourth, going on into the Premier League next season. But we need to see vast improvements going into this season, because last season was disappointing. We finished sixth. We didn't win many silverware and all that, so we do need to see vast improvements of course going on into this season. like I did currently say. But we've got to be more competitive in this window because, like I said, there's just under 4 weeks remaining and all that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically, said, we're still looking to sign 1 or 2 more players, of course, before this current window shuts. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say anyway, there has, been lots of speculations about, players coming in. Of course, players are coming out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is very, very adamant that we don't need to sell players, but he also said we're not intending on overspending on our transfer targets. But he's said very, very adamant, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that we haven't received any bids for our players. But Solskjaer said he has spoken to the vast majority of our players this summer. But I do believe we do need to sell players. We've definitely got to sell players. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, obviously we've seen Valencia leave the club. Obviously we saw, after he served 10 years with Manchester United, obviously we saw Ander Herrera leave the club. We saw Fellaini, leave the club back in January and all that. So 3 players have left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come in. But I do believe, if Harry Maguire, does come in and, we do get the transfer completed for him, obviously I think we're, intending on, selling 1 central defender, because looking at, we've got quite a few centre-backs. You've got, you've got Victor Lindelof, you've got Smalling, Jones, Bailly, Alex Tuanzebe, Marcus Rojo, and we've got quite a lot of central defenders. So I do believe we've got around 5 or 6. So I think if Harry Maguire comes in, we are willing to sell 1 central defender. I don't think it'll be Victor Lindelof, even though there was recent reports coming out about him being linked to a move to Barcelona. I think Victor Lindelof himself, dismissed the speculation, linking him with a move to Barcelona. Because with Victor Lindelof, I do believe there was vast improvements in his second season with Manchester United. And I thought, we got him for a reasonable figure, Victor Lindelof. £30 million was a reasonable figure, compared, to what we paid for the likes of Pogba and Lukaku in recent years and all that. Obviously, our 2 most expensive signings. Lindelof didn't settle in his first season, but there was definitely vast improvements in his second season and that with Manchester United. So I think, the central defender we will probably get rid of if Harry Maguire does come in. I think we'll probably consider getting rid of Rojo, maybe like Alex Tuanzebe, maybe Smalling, maybe Jones and all that. I don't think we'll be orchestrating on selling Merrick Bay. But like I said, anyway, I think we need to sell Rojo. We definitely need to sell Darmian because both players have endured difficult times at the club. And I do believe, we can generate around 25 or 30 million pounds for the departures of Matteo Darmian and Marcus Rojo and all that. So I do believe, we do need to currently sell them. But Harry Maguire now, like I said, is our number 1 defensive target. Brendan Rodgers has basically come out and he's imposed a deadline on potential bids for Harry Maguire. So basically, Brendan Rodgers' overarching view and all this is basically he's aware that Manchester United and Manchester City are interested in him and all that, and Leicester have confirmed they want a world record fee. But what he's basically saying is if Man United and Man City want to get him, we've got to hurry up about it. So we need to basically hurry up if we do want to get a deal over the line for the current player. But that is the latest news by Harry Maguire. But I did basically say I think our expectations, going into this season, probably will be to finish in the top 4. I think our aspirations will be that top 4 for the next couple of seasons, maybe proving wrong and all that. Because analysing at the moment, City strides ahead of us. Obviously, like Liverpool and that strides ahead of us. And I did say it's very imperative, that we catch up with likes Manchester City and Liverpool. That is very, very essential indeed. But all analysing it, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process, of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Like I said, I do know what squad, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does currently want to rebuild. He wants to rebuild the squad of what, wants the squad, to replicate, what the squad did, under Alex Ferguson, for 20 odd years. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also recently was speaking about Alex Ferguson and transfers and he was saying about Ferguson that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he believes that Alex Ferguson, transformed him into a winner and all that. So hopefully Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got the abilities and the stature, to get us in that commanding position, of course, where we do currently want to be. We've had a fantastic start to pre-season, like I said. We've won 2 out of 2, 6 goals scored, no goals conceded. Obviously, the youth have really stepped up so far in pre-season. And like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has basically said, he's spoken to the vast majority of our players this summer. Some of them regarding their futures and all that, because we do know the likes of Lukaku and Pogba being linked to a move away from the football club. Obviously, he's assured that Mason Greenwood's going to get more first. Well, he's going to, get promoted into the first team. He's going to get more playing time, going on into this season, which is also, very, very good news. Which is, absolutely fantastic. And like I said, I think Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James are 2 fantastic signings. With Daniel James, I still think he's a prospect, so I say Daniel James is still developing him and all that. Well, he needs a bit. Well, he needs time to develop, should I say? There's Daniel James, but he's done really, really well in pre-season so far. And Wan-Bissaka's done really, really well in pre-season. I do believe Wan-Bissaka, can be our full-back for the next decade, without a shadow of a doubt. But still, lots needs to be currently addressed in the squad and all that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy, that proved successful and that under Alex Ferguson. But like I did say, me analysing it now, I think we need at least 2 more players in this summer transfer window. Maybe even 3 players, because we didn't spend out in January. We didn't get as number 1 targets last summer, but quite a few people said, we should be spend sensible over our current recruitment this summer. It's not always about spending big on players and all that, as we have done in recent years, and we've spent a hell of a lot of money, in the last 5 or 6 years, since Alex Ferguson retired and all that. But I think we are moving away from the policy of signing all them well-established players, because it's not always about getting them Galactico players and all that. Like I said, we'll currently see what happens and all that. I want to give you a bit more of additional information in regards to Bruno Fernandes. Well, I've been updating you about Bruno Fernandes, haven't I, on a regular basis. So obviously we do know that Bruno Fernandes has been, for the entirety of the summer, he's been heavily linked to move to Manchester United. I do believe now Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United, could possibly be off. Again, similar to the Harry Maguire, speculation and all that, I think the stumbling block, seems to be I think the fee, the fee of what Sporting has been demanding, seems to be the stumbling block again, because obviously we're not willing to pay what Sporting has been currently demanding. So basically Sporting has been have said they want in the region around £70 million. Of course Manchester United are not willing to pay this. We're only willing to pay around £50 million for his services. So reportedly we're willing to pay £50 million for Bruno Fernandes. I don't think we've made this official bid as yet. Obviously talks have been ongoing between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon for quite some time now. I do believe Bruno Fernandes has notified his representatives he wants to join Manchester United, so he's turned down Tottenham allegedly, he's turned down Liverpool allegedly and all that. But I do believe that the board, Manchester United board, have got concerns about us, spending big on players who haven't really got, the experience to the highest level. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes hasn't got the experience really to the highest level and all that. And I think Ed Woodward has actually said no to Manchester United, to Bruno Fernandes, sorry. But I think, the board just feels as though that Bruno Fernandes, of course, is too expensive. Don't get me wrong, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, we still intend on bringing a couple of new additions in that midfield. So the situation with Paul Pogba is not having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. So Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United is not dependent, of course, on what happens with Paul Pogba. It's reportedly said, though, we were going to put a £50 million bid in for him. Reportedly, we're willing to pay him around £5.5 million a year, which equates to around £100,000 a week. Reports said the other week that he was satisfied by this offer with Bruno Fernandes, and he wanted to make the move to Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes' agent was allegedly in the UK the other week to allegedly thrash out a deal with Manchester United. I do believe his agents also held talks with Tottenham. He's also held talks with Liverpool and all that. But like I said with Bruno Fernandes, his initial release clause is around £88 million. Manchester United are not determined to go anywhere near that figure, and obviously he signed a long-term contract with Sporting Lisbon last summer, so he is under contract with them until 2023. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes did score 32 goals in all competitions last season, so he can score goals, he can provide, he's really, really good at creating chances, and I do believe, he would be the right solution for Manchester United, because looking at it, he has been one of our priority targets. Obviously, he spent the majority of his career in Italy when he was younger and all that. He grew up in Italy, I think, did Bruno Fernandes. But like I said, I think the Sporting Lisbon's valuation, does seem to be the stumbling block. So we're not willing to pay £70 million for his services. Obviously, he has had negotiations with representatives over the potentially, making him move to Manchester United and all that. But maybe Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United now may not happen. We may only make one more signing now. We may only make one more signing now in this current transfer window. Solskjaer says, we're looking to sign 1 or 2 more players, before the window, does currently shut and all that. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes, would be currently fantastic. Obviously, and Sporting Lisbon themselves haven't been, reliable, not very reliable throughout this window, really, because obviously, they're sure he was going to be going to Manchester City about, was it 8 or 9 weeks ago, but obviously he's moved to Manchester City, never materialised, because I do believe, Manchester City had pulled out. More reports updated about Bruno Fernandes last week, and it said reportedly Manchester United had held more extensive talks with Sporting Lisbon. It also said that Manchester City had held talks with Sporting Lisbon and all that. But yeah, I think he's a very, very good player, and I do believe if he came to the Premier League, he would have all the attributes, to definitely come and succeed. But he actually, could end up, staying at Sporting Lisbon, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But like I said, we've got to get a couple of new additions in that midfield. As I've been updating you anyway, with in regard to Paul Pogba and all that, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has recently, well, he actually came out over the weekend saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed he has considered Paul Pogba for the captaincy at Manchester United, next season. Obviously, in a bid to try and convince him to remain at the football club. Obviously, Valencia was the captain. Obviously, he isn't now because obviously he's left Manchester United. So I do believe now the captain at the moment is currently Ashley Young. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is considering giving it to Paul Pogba on a permanent basis to convince him to remain at the football club, despite Paul Pogba's desire, to currently quit Manchester United and all that. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has been talking a lot about Paul Pogba. I think, like I said, when he was speaking about our ambitions for next season, he was also talking about Paul Pogba. He was also talking about Alexis Sanchez and all that. Maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is convinced that Alexis Sanchez, will get to his best again, like he proven at Arsenal and proven at Barcelona when he was younger, when he was playing under Pep Guardiola. Obviously, Sanchez has not yet, exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United, as we all thought, he currently would have done. But maybe, there is time for improvement, from Sanchez. Sanchez definitely, will get given his chance. For the entirety of for the majority of the summer, we've been trying to get rid of him, but obviously we've struggled to get rid of him, based on his substantial wages. But yeah, he's spoken about Paul Pogba, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has basically said he's got the heart of gold, he's a fantastic player, and all that. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does know how much an imperative player he is. And I know we're not in Champions League football for next season, so it's going to be hard for us to attract players to the elite level. It's also going to be hard for us to convince our imperative players to stay at the football club, but we do know how imperative, of course, that Paul Pogba is. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said Manchester United, can rebuild around Paul Pogba, and he has basically said that Paul Pogba does not need to leave the football club, to currently fulfill his ambitions. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has held talks with Paul Pogba in regards to his long-term future. Obviously, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, did come out a couple of weeks ago saying that Paul Pogba is processing, leaving the club and all that. So this is what, he's basically said. Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has been in the process of finding a new club, at least for the last, 2 to 3 months and all that, because obviously Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, is aware that Paul Pogba does want to leave, because obviously reports indicated out last month saying that Paul Pogba obviously seeking for a new challenge. He publicly admitted that he wants to leave Manchester United. Obviously, he wants to rejuvenate his career and all that. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spoken to the vast majority of our current players. I do believe now we are set to open contract talks with Paul Pogba again to try and convince him to remain at the football club. But Paul Pogba at the moment has got 2 years left on his contract with an option to extend by a further year. And we did pay a substantial amount for him. We paid £89 million for him. Obviously he's our most expensive signing. We're basically very adamant that Paul Pogba is not for sale, but it did initially say we'd accept a bid in the region of around 150 million. That's the bid, would accept. But obviously we've indicated out that it's currently not for sale. But reportedly, it did say at the weekend and all that. More reports indicating out saying now reportedly we have risen our asking price, and now reportedly we want around 180 million for Paul Pogba. So basically, we are demanding double than what we paid for him from Juventus, back in 2016 and all that. But I actually did say, based on the extortionate amount, we've put on Pogba and Lukaku, because we do know they've both been relentlessly linked to a move away from the football club. This could be a stumbling block of, them making their proposed moves. Paul Pogba and Lukaku have blatantly made it clear anyway that they do basically, want to leave Manchester United. But with Pogba, we do know Pogba's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. He's also been linked to a move to Juventus. I do believe Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid for quite some time, and his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. Obviously, like I said, Juventus has stepped their interest up in the last 3 weeks and all that. But like I said, Real Madrid are not keen on a straight cash payment. Real Madrid are trying to offload a couple of their players. They may even offload 3 or 4 players, to help them generate funds, to meet that £150 million valuation. Also, Real Madrid are desperate to include Gareth Bale in their pursuit with Paul Pogba. Real Madrid this summer have spent over £300 million on 5 players, as you all currently know. But I still believe Paul Pogba's first choice preference is Real Madrid. Obviously, Paul Pogba's probably keen on playing under Zinedine Zidane's guidance and all that. But we do know Juventus have set their interest up in the last couple of weeks. Juventus have held talks with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. I do believe Juventus have got the deal confirmed now for Matty Stilitz. That's another player they've got on the board. They've done really good business this summer of Juventus. They've got Ronaldo last summer, and they've paid an extortionate amount for him. They've got Aaron Ramsey. They've got Adrian Rabiot. Now they've got Matty Stilitz and that on the board. So they have done good business this summer. So I did say more than likely anywhere Juventus would have to offload 1 or 2 of their essential players, to fund the move for Paul Pogba. But he did have 4 good years in Turin. Hasn't really replicated this form since he did make the return to Manchester United. But I would still say in this market at this day and age, he's still within the region of 150 or 160 million pounds. But Paul Pogba has not been the player as we all thought he currently would have been. I think think it's initially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans to actually build a side around Paul Pogba. But like I said, maybe the couple of main factors why he wants to leave the club because he feels as though he isn't playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United, and he wants to play amongst better players. Maybe he feels as though he isn't. Maybe he's frustrated with a lack of competitiveness, so he wants to be winning trophies, wants to be competing. So maybe he's frustrated there with his Paul Pogba. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is basically doing everything he can, to try and convince him to remain in the football club and all that. But Paul Pogba's transfer saga away from Manchester United does continue to persist and all that. So if he does end up leaving the club, I do believe, he will make the move to Real Madrid. But I said if Pogba and Lukaku do get sold, it will help us with our help us with our rebuilding process. Of course, it will help us with our transition and all that. But we do know how they are basically two imperative players. Well, the two imperative players there for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think Lukaku is that imperative, but I am very, very adamant. That Pogba, of course, is imperative. But if we did sell Paul Pogba, he would definitely generate over £100 million for his departure. And I do believe, with that money we did generate, if he did leave and we did generate over £100 million, basically we quite frankly can get 2 or 3 players there with that money. I know it's going to be hard for us to find a replacement it's going to be hard for us to find a player of Paul Pogba's calibre and level, to replace Paul Pogba. But I think it would be very, 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 very beneficial, of course, if we did currently offload him. But like I said, since he rejoined the club in 2016, obviously he scored 31 goals in 135 games. Thought his stats were very impressive last season as well, and he's won the Europa League and the League Cup with us, and obviously that came in his second season with Manchester United and all that. But like I said, either way, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, we still want to add a couple of new additions in that midfield. But if Paul Pogba definitely leaves, obviously we are currently going to need a replacement for him. We do know there's been a lot of talk, going on about Milinkovic-Savic from Lazio. I updated you about this on my previous video and all that about Milinkovic-Savic. Now, obviously, a lot of reports came out the other week. This was stemming from Sky in Italy, saying that, and it also stemmed from Di Marzio, who's a very, very reliable Italian journalist. He basically said that Manchester United have submitted, well, we're interested, but he said in Sky in Italy, we've submitted around a £72 million bid for Milinkovic-Savic. Obviously, this is going to be too insufficient for Lazio, because obviously, Lazio are looking for somewhere in the region of around £90 million. So obviously, we are going to have to pay an extortionate amount for him. Maybe this is dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba, Milinkovic-Savic making his proposed move to Manchester United and all that. He has actually been relentlessly into a move to Manchester United, as Milinkovic-Savic. I think we've been in for him since last summer. I do believe last summer, Lazio wanted somewhere in the region of around £108 million. So initially now they have lowered their asking price because Lazio president's confirmed now they want around £90 million. So he did say last week that Manchester United had held their talks with Lazio. I think also his agent the other week and actually travelled to the UK. So I do believe Manchester United have held their talks with his agent. So they are open to selling him, but Lazio have quoted that they do want around £90 million. So I do believe he's primarily a central midfielder. So he's mainly box to box. 24 years of age, of course, he's Serbian. I think he's been inconsistent for the last 5 to 6 months, for Lazio, but in the majority of his 4 years, he has been with Lazio. He's proven himself, he's scored goals, he's created chances. I think his work ethic's good, his tenacity, and that's really, really good and all that. Do you think he would be the right type of player for Manchester United? Obviously, Milinkovic-Savic signed a new deal last October with Lazio, so he's under contract with them until 2023. I think he scored 31 goals in 138 games, of course, for Lazio. I do believe quite a few other teams have expressed their interest in the player. But yeah, we have been in for him for quite some time. And obviously he hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. But do you believe, he would exceed expectation levels in the Premier League, if he was, to come and all that? I think obviously before he was at Lazio, I think he did serve, was it a year or two at Genk as well. But yeah, Lazio have said basically, they want around £90 million. But again, we're not willing to overspend on our current transfer targets, as you all currently know. So we've identified him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. Going back a couple of weeks ago, there was quite a lot of talks about Saul Gates from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, there were a lot of reports going on last week about Mario Lemina from Southampton and all that. I just don't think he would be the right type signing for Manchester United. But yeah, we've definitely got to address that midfield without a shadow of a doubt. Got to address that midfield without a shadow of a doubt. As I've been giving an update on a regular basis in regards to Romelu Lukaku and all that, obviously we do know Lukaku has been relentlessly linked to a move to Inter Milan, and we do know for the entirety of the summer Lukaku has been speaking about his proposed move to Inter Milan, as you all know. Obviously talks have been going on for quite some time now between Manchester United and Inter Milan. Obviously we are demanding that, well, we're open to selling Lukaku, but obviously we've said we want around 75 or 80 million pounds, so we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago, or even we are intending on gaining a little bit of a profit. And I do believe our valuation has seemed to be the stumbling block of Lukaku making his proposed move to Inter Milan and all that. But potentially, like I said, Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, reflecting back last week, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer obviously held talks with Romelu Lukaku, pleading to stay at the club for one more season, because I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is, even though he has initially lost his place in the team, because obviously since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had been recommended in, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and I do believe Lukaku is very unhappy about this. So basically he is unhappy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But yeah, he has been heavily linked to move to Inter Milan. So obviously, Inter Milan director travelled to London last week to hold negotiation with Manchester United to thrash out a deal for Romelu Lukaku and all that. Obviously, Inter Milan have obviously well, they made a 2-year loan offer with around £9 million up front, with then the obligation to buy for the further £54 million at the end of the loan. But obviously, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let Lukaku, of course, go on a permanent deal, as you all know. We're unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us. They've tried offering us Mario Cardi for Lukaku, they've tried offering us Perisic for Lukaku, they've also tried offering us Rodgers for Lukaku, but obviously Manchester United again didn't entertain these current offers. So basically, Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players to help them generate funds, to meet that 75 or 80 million pound valuation and all that. I do believe we overpaid for Lukaku a couple of years ago from Everton, even though his goal scoring pedigree is very good in the Premier League, and he was exceptional in his first season with Manchester United. No two ways about that. He was, he's been at the club 2 years, was exceptional in his first season, didn't really replicate this form, of course, in his second season, but he has been at the club 2 years. He scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions. He's still got, 3 years left on his contract. But Lukaku could still possibly make his dream move to Inter Milan, because he's blatantly made it clear anywhere that he does currently want to leave the football club. So now reportedly Inter Milan, well, they're preparing to put a new bid in for him sometime this week. This got reported from Sky Sports earlier on this week, and for the majority of the time I think Sky Sports is quite reliable of what they're saying. That they're basically saying now that Inter Milan are willing to meet our £75 million valuation, but only with bonuses, with only bonus payments included in the deal, so it isn't going to be straight outright. So reportedly I think Inter Milan are willing to pay a guaranteed £60 million. Whether that's going to be up front or not, I do not know, or whether it's going to be over the course of the next year or two. So I think basically Inter Milan still want payments to be structured and all. Maybe Inter Milan are willing to pay a straight £60 million up front, and I do believe they want to pay like 15 million in bonuses and all that, depending on how Lukaku does perform at the San Siro and all that. But probably more than likely anyway, Manchester United of course will not entertain this offer. But like I said, reported out the other one saying that Lukaku had agreed the personal terms with Inter Milan. It also said he had agreed a contract, worth around 180 grand a week. But I did say, the fee seemed to be problematic. Lukaku wants to play under Antonio Conte's guidance. He described him as one of the best managers in the world. Lukaku believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance. And obviously, reflecting back when Antonio Conte was the manager of Chelsea, obviously Antonio Conte won the Premier League with Chelsea in his first season and all, the year after won the FA Cup and all that. At that point, he wanted Romelu Lukaku, but obviously ended up making the move to Manchester United and all that. But like I did say, if he does leave the football club, obviously we are going to need a replacement for him, because that's another thing that we were lacking last season. Goals, wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal and all that. But we have got Mason Greenwood now. Like I said, he's getting promoted into the first team and all that. You've got the likes of Chong, but Mason Greenwood and Chong obviously going to gain a bit more experience throughout pre-season. But I still believe they're inexperienced at the moment. You've got the likes of Rashford and Martial. Rashford started pre-season really well. He scored 2 goals in 2 games. Very, very good indeed. But I think Rashford and Martial have they're still not quite at that level yet. They haven't emulated that level. It's going to probably take them probably a year, maybe even 2 years to get into that level where they do want to be. So if Lukaku leaves the football club, I know he's 26 and he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think we need to replace him. And, there's been quite a few players who could replace him. And, there's people been talking about Wissam Ben Yedder. Based on Wissam Ben Yedder's experience, I think he would be the right solution for Manchester United. Again, his goal scoring pedigree is very, very good. I don't know if it's as good as Lukaku's and all that. Obviously, Wissam Ben Yedder's never played in the Premier League, but obviously he's 28 years of age. He's available for a reasonable figure because I think his initial release clause is around 36 million. He's been at Sevilla 3 years. I think last season he must have scored around 30 goals and 11 assists in 54 games for Sevilla in all competitions there last season. He's still got 2 years left on his contract with Sevilla, and I do presume he's pretty decent player. He's Wissam Ben Yedder. So yeah, there's people talking about Moussa Dembele from Lyon, very, very young, can score goals, as he proven in his debut season with Lyon last season. Obviously, he's had experience of playing in Scotland as Moussa Dembele, because obviously he had 2 good years in Scotland with Celtic. Lyon, I think, did pay around 19 or 20 million pounds for his services there last summer. 22 years of age, Moussa Dembele. There's still people talking about Icardi, Nicolas Pepe. Obviously, Liverpool and that have been in for Nicolas Pepe and all that. So who should replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club, of course, and if he does currently leave. Yeah, so Pogba and Lukaku, of course, have been both relentlessly, linked to remove away from the football club. But like I said, my preview will be coming up tomorrow, I do presume, for the Manchester United Inter Milan game. Obviously, it's venued at the National Stadium in Singapore. It is a 12:30 kick-off in the UK. I do believe it is the Champions Cup. Like I said, we've had a great start to pre-season. So for the game against Inter Milan, obviously, Fred, Darmian and Dean Henderson, of course, are going to be available because obviously, they didn't travel to Australia due to family reasons. But obviously, they're going to link up in Singapore with the rest of the squad, obviously, which is very, very good news. We will get more information about De Gea and Lukaku, of course. Obviously, they have not played on tour as yet. De Gea has been ill. Obviously, Lukaku sustained a knock, and this is the fact. This is the reasons. This is the reasons why they didn't play him against Leeds United. But like I said, the youth have really stepped up so far in pre-season. I have been really, really impressed. But I think Inter Milan, is going to be pretty tough test. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, I think also Tottenham's obviously after that. Tottenham's also going to be a very, very tough test. But like I said, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I hope he can take Manchester United forward. He was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years, don't forget, under Alex Ferguson and all that, and he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. He has got a bit of experience as a manager, not to the highest level and all that, but obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's at a club, he knows the culture of the club inside out, he loves the club as well, and hopefully, he tactically knows what he's doing. He was getting his tactics wrong quite a few times towards the back end of last season, but like I said, it's signings that count. We've got 2 good signings in so far, but obviously, we're going to want to build on this. And we need at least 2 more new additions to the squad before this current window ends. I've been actually happy in this window, but I've also become frustrated as well. We've been negotiating with Sporting Lisbon about coming to agreement on a fee, for several times now. I'm getting frustrated with what's going on with Harry Maguire at the moment because I really, really like him and I do want him to come to Manchester United. But like I said, it's the fee that's the stumbling block. It's the valuation of what Leicester are demanding, because Manchester United will not pay what Leicester are demanding unless we may pay it if we actually have to get persuaded to pay it, but like we said, we're not intending on overspending on our tags. But Brendan Rodgers has basically come out and said he's imposed a deadline on potential bids for Harry Maguire and all that, and he's actually overarching view on this. Brendan Rodgers is basically saying, Manchester United and Manchester City have got to hurry up if they want to get the pursuit of Harry Maguire, and he's basically said as Brendan Rodgers that he's aware that Manchester United and Manchester City have inquired about Harry Maguire and all that, and he's basically said he's been speaking out the potential bids that we have Manchester United and Manchester City have put out for Harry Maguire. So from his point of view, I think about 2 bids have been rejected for him. We've had a £70 million bid turned down for him. I think City anywhere are only willing to pay £60 million for Harry Maguire anywhere. But we'll see what happens. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.